please welcome Mr. Red Wemette.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Hello, folks. It is May the 1st, 2023. And here we are. All you folks are saying hi to me before we even get on the show. Michael Graham, thank you very much. Thank all of you. I really appreciate it. Dave Smith, how you doing, guy? We have Tony Johnson saying hi to Julie M. So Julie M must be in here. And we have Rhonda and Tim and Tommy Bridges. There's Rhonda. Big smile on your face, huh? Treetop. How you doing, buddy? A couple packs of cigarettes and you're all set to go, huh? Coffee? You're all ready. Well, that's good. Before I get into the topic here, I'd like to talk about a phone call I had. And the phone call I had was kind of interesting in the sense that I like, thank you, Kraut. It's going to be good. Jerry Cruz. Don Cheech, it's by you. Yeah. I'm glad it's 70 degrees there. That's for sure. Here we are at the Waltons. Good night, John Boy. And we have my vlog here with us too. Adam spent a whole lot of time on the outtakes from the Casino movie, the movie Casino. And we were up talking about it last night. Actually, yesterday was a very eventful day. That's what I wanted to tell you. I got a call, and it made me realize that there aren't many people around like this person. But I got a call from somebody that I haven't seen, well, I don't know how many years. It's 45 years or something like that. I didn't know if they were live, but they actually knew me back in the late 70s, early 80s. And hadn't seen him in years. And all the things that transpired in his life, all the kids he's had and the marriage and everything that happened. I mean, it was really interesting for me because there's not that many people around that actually knew me back in the day. They just didn't know me then. It appears that I'm getting a little wind problem. I hope this doesn't keep up. But at any rate, it was interesting. So we don't upset Mr. Pab because he says I go off topic too much, or Adam does. Very critical man. We will get to the topic, Willow Springs. Well, a lot of you people and other people may look back at Willow Springs and only think about it as Diane Masters and how she was murdered out there. Her husband set it up with Michael Corbett, who was the chief of police. And then some of you may know a little bit about Michael Corbett because there's been books written about him. He was the chief of police and very crooked, and the mob owned him. But the mob has always owned Willow Springs. It's been there for a long time, and so was the mob. The presence there was always there. Looking back, going back into the 30s, when it was just a small little burg of a town, there was nothing out there. Bunch of stables, farms, stuff like that. Excuse me, folks. But that's what it was back in the day. In the 70s and the 80s, it was different. But in the 70s, there was a lot of things going on in Willow Springs. I mean, first of all, they had open casinos. They had wide open casinos. And until I did a little check on things, I didn't realize it. But Vic Spilaccio and Tony Spilaccio were very influential out in Willow Springs. And so was Milwaukee Phil. And so was Frank Schweiss. As a matter of fact, Frank Schweiss invoked the name on a videotape of Al Capone's brother. He said, I don't care if Al Capone's brother comes back reincarnated from the dead. Well, Al Capone's brother that he spoke of was Ralph Capone, because he was out there way back when doing his bottling routine so they could have mixed drinks. He would make soft drinks like ginger ale, 7-Up, Coke, whatever. So you could have, excuse me, folks. So you could have mixed drinks with your alcohol when alcohol was illegal. And even when it wasn't illegal, he still stuck with it. There was money in it, a lot of money in it. I guess I was fortunate enough. I was a young lad, and I actually met Ralph Capone, but I didn't know his name was Capone. They never called him Mr. Capone. They never said that. They called him Bottles. And I didn't know about that till many, many years later. There's just no way I knew about it. That's right. That's what they were, Kraut. They were setups. You got it. Setups for the bar. But the presence out there was heavy. It was wild and woolly. It was like the Wild West. And probably somebody that until yesterday, I didn't know his last name. All we knew him as was Doc. And he was the mayor of Willow Springs. And he might have been, he might just been the Lord himself, because he walked around that town like he owned it. And he did own it. He had a 45 on each hip. He was a sight to see. And until yesterday, I didn't know his last name. And then it made sense to me. It all clicked together. His name is Rust, Mr. Rust, Doc Rust. And I was very, very impressed by some of the things that I heard about, but there's nothing written about it. I don't see anything, any place written about it. I just don't. Michael Graham, you have a comment here? Well, Michael Graham read it makes me wonder what the history of Willow Springs is that made it so appealing to the Alpha guys. Number one, it was in the middle of nowhere. It was closer to Joliet than it was anything else. It was way far away from Chicago. Really was. That's number one. Number two is you could probably do just about anything out there and get away with it. There were over 70 cars recovered from the Sag Canal, Cal-Sag Canal. And it was deep. They had dredged out in the 30s and widened. And it was a good place to get rid of a car. If you didn't go to a scrapyard or they wanted to be dumped, that's where it got dumped. Sean Pender. Yeah, it is basically set up. Yeah, you got it. Willow Springs is basically set on a hill with steep streets. Yes, it is. I was told, and I don't know if it's true or not, it's just hearsay, that it used to be a garbage dump years ago. People used to dump their garbage there. That's just the way it was. Yes, Rhonda, Santa Fe Speedway is out that way. It's not far away from Wolf Road. Archer Road. It's out that way. How you doing, Luminous Grin? How you doing, buddy? Michael Hacker. Michael Corbett was sworn in by in a bar, and it was an insurance scam. That's what I was talking about earlier, Michael. Most people know it for the Diane Masters murder and how that took place. Most people don't know the early history of it. I don't know how much mob is left there or corruption. Maybe it's not mob. Maybe it's just corruption. Rhonda, I remember an ice rink, Willow Ice Chalet, in the middle of nowhere. Everything was in the middle of nowhere. William Davison, you're making my point right here. Santa Fe Speedway closed in 1993. It's all gone. It's buried and dead. It's gone. There was a lot of talk about the Grimes sister murders out there. I don't know what it had to do with, honestly. Not with Willow Springs, anyway. Don Cheech. That's how they found Diane Masters. Yes, they found her body in the trunk of a car out there. And it was a big deal in Chicago. I mean, it was like it headlined the news for a long time. The trial was something else. Both men were found guilty. But Doc was a character. If anybody's ever met him, or I don't see anything written about him at all. Michael Hacker. I like riding my Harley down Archer to Summit and the old Joliet prison. I don't doubt it. Michael, did you ever go down I-55 to what they used to call the stoplight? It was the first red light on I-55 before you got on Route 66. I used to years ago. Jim Jager, in 2010-17, half of the police force resigned and was fired in Willow Springs. I don't doubt it. All they had to do is say, okay, we're having polygraphs. And that would do it right there. Yes, Scott, the Grimes sisters were found on German Church Road. I keep messing that up. All my life I've been messing that up. It's not far from LaGrange. It's really not. Larry Cohn says, Red, I hope you, I have played LaGrange Golf Course near Willow Springs. But Willow Springs is its own identity. I mean, there's nothing like it that I know of. It's just, it kind of reminds me of a pre-Cicero type area. what was pre-Cicero. That's what it reminds me of back in the day. Not many people know much about it. Not many people went out there. Pompano Utility Project, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, hung out with a bunch of kids from Argo High School, Summit and Argo. Yeah, I knew the area quite well. Always talking about Capone's Speakeasies. Any inside information? No, nothing inside. Nothing, no inside information. Just talk that I heard about. Thank you, Joseph. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. I really do. How you doing today? Joseph, where are you from? Willow Springs and Palos Park. When I worked at Palos Hills in the 80s, Willow Springs fired the police department, hired back half of the officers less than 2 months later. William Davison, I got to tell you, Bill, Willow Springs and Palos Hills and Palos Park and all that stuff kind of blended together. And it was kind of everybody cooperated with everybody else. Tim, I didn't even know there was a UPS distribution center out there, but I can see it. Indianapolis. Okay, that explains a lot of things because there are a lot of breweries that were in Indiana. As a matter of fact, I'm trying to think of the gal's name right now. I met her in Florida, and she was from Indiana, and she hated the ATF because she had a couple farms up there when she was young, and she was in her 80s when I met her. That was back in 96, and she told me, I'm trying to think of her name right now, but she told me that they used to make beer on her property. Scott H., you're up there in Georgia now. It's cool and sunny, about 65. Well, it's about 80 degrees by me, and windy as hell. Gabby Rodriguez, how you doing, buddy? Wake up. Hey, Red. Oh, hope all is well, buddy. It is. All is well. Now, that's information for me. I didn't know Maltese lived out there, but it makes sense. When Cicero was kind of going downhill, and for her to be the mayor of Cicero and live out there, I can understand it. Nicer homes, nicer area. Cicero never wanted integration, but they got it. Time passed and they got it. Jim Jagger, there we go. It's 4:20 for all you people that need medical attention. Julie M., good to see you too. Very good to see you. I hope Charles is doing better. I really hope he's on the road to recovery. I'm doing the best I can, smiling at the world. Hope it keeps smiling back. Thank you. Thank you, William. Thank you, Gabby. Okay, we have some controversy here. Dave says that Maltese lived in Austin, on Austin Boulevard in Cicero. Okay, maybe she had moved a couple times. Who knows? All the times I moved around, and I was no mayor. Larry Cohn. That's a mystery. How many murders were attributed? I have no idea. How many were attributed to Corbett? But there were quite a few. None of them proven except Diane Masters that I know of. Well, it sounds like you'd know. She was a customer of yours, Dave. Michael Hacker. My father worked for a short time at Fisher Body in the 80s. Is up in Willow Springs. I think a lot of industry went there because I don't see the same things there now that I did way back when. I mean, let's face it, it's 2023. Even before COVID hit, it was, it was dead out there. It wasn't like it was. There wasn't a red light district and houses of prostitution. There wasn't the gambling casinos like there were. Although there is one gambling casino out there on the canal. Michael Hacker. Maltese had one house in Austin near Pershing. On Austin, near Pershing, 39th Street. Okay. Maybe she had numerous homes. I don't know. She sure stole enough money. And according to records, it seemed like she was very closely involved with I'm trying to think of his name right now. He just passed away. Big controversy over him. Yes, it was a very powerful town. I didn't realize that. But you know why it was powerful? It made money. Anywhere where there's money, you're going to find the outfit. It's kind of funny because I look at the Godfather movie where the guy says, "Let me wet my beak." And that's kind of like, man, it rings a bell. Nobody says it like that, but that's just about what it is. I want a little taste. Give me a taste. There you go. Jimmy I. Jimmy Iandino was definitely involved with Betty Maltese. I don't know how that trial came out, but it was what it was. But it was an old presence out there, a very old presence. Trucking companies. It was just kind of a rough town as I remember it when I was young. And that's back in, 1967, 1968, 1969. Not 1967. I was away in the Marine Corps then. Michael Graham. Funny fact. Betty Loren-Maltese lived on my police beat at the Salvation Army halfway house on Madison and Ogden when she was first released from prison. Thank you, Wake Up. Smiling back at you too, buddy. God bless you. God bless all of you. Olin Chemical. Yeah. There's a lot of chemical companies out there. And a lot of people utilize, I think a lot of people utilize that area for all those little towns, Dave. All those little towns like Willow Springs were notorious for speed traps. I'm trying to think of the name of some of them. They were all crazy as you went along. Lake Cook was a small town. Anywhere going out by towards LaGrange, out in that area, it was bad. And they had you. They had you. That was it. You didn't have to be guilty of speeding. If they pulled you over and said you were speeding, you were speeding. That's the way it is. Scott H., you wish to work at Olin in PA. I assume you're meaning Olin Chemical Company that makes gunpowder, ammunition, that sort of thing. Bill, the crowd, Zion, Illinois, total speed trap up 41. Yeah, but that's like diagonal all the way across town. Zion, Illinois, what we used to call Church City, is all the way up by the Wisconsin border. Close to the lake. And thank you for the help, Scott. McCook, Hodgkins, all those little towns, they were all speed traps. They went from 55 to 45 to 30. And they didn't really have DOT put up the signs at the right places. They weren't, the signage was bad. And they got their income was strictly from people that didn't know what they're doing going through. But if you were connected, they gave you a pass. They let you go because they were corrupt. Very crush base. They made foam for under carpet at Olin, I guess. Okay. Chemical company making foam. The Zion cops are getting back at the cheeseheads for the Bears sucking so bad. I guess it was. Church City, we used to call that Church City. We never called it Zion, but it was a controlled little off-right community. Treetop, that's a good question, because as I looked, I couldn't find anything. They make it sound like it's a paradise right now. They built condos there, everything there. Chief of Police Lee Brennan was a corrupt Willow Springs. Everybody that was out there was corrupt. Well, Bill, he came from the Corbett era. I guess it stayed that way. You passed the baton to somebody that worked for you, and that's the way it was. Scott, you just mentioned something that really tickles my inners. Argonne National Laboratories. I used to go out there as a kid, and I used to go hill climbing on a motorcycle. And this is before I went in the Marine Corps. And I remember when they put the white deer out there. And it was really high security. And the talk that I heard was that place was making all kinds of chemical warfare and different things for the government. And that's why they put it that far away from the lake. I was also told that it had something to do with the Manhattan Project years ago. And there was a tunnel that went from, what do they call it? Where the Bears play. Soldiers Field. And in that tunnel, there was I saw it myself, a little car, a little putt-putt car, it was on a railroad track, and it went all the way out directly. There weren't any exits or anything else. It went directly out to the I'm trying to think of the name of it. I just said it a minute ago. Argonne National Laboratories. Always fascinated me. Nobody that I know of has ever gone in there and actually found out what goes on there. It is top secret. They keep a lot of security on it. Treetop. He's one of my members of the channel here. Some of you members are here, but Treetop says, hit that like button. Thank you, buddy. You're always trying to help me, and I'm trying to help you the best way I can to bring you a good show. Larry Cohn. Red, there's a Cook Brewery, old warehouse located near Willow Springs on Archer Road. Yes, there is. I don't think it's up in operation, but it was there years ago. Probably the thing I knew it for. Adam says, I heard they had something to do with the Manhattan Project too. And that's what I heard. And I actually saw the tunnel. I took that little putt-putt train, or it's a one-car thing with a 4-cycle engine on it, all the way out to Argonne. But there were gates that were steel gates and everything else, so you couldn't go any further. They secured it. Jerry Cruz, he wants to know, what's up, Adam? User. Finally, I caught a live. Been trying to for a while. Well, thank you for joining us, user. Thank you very much. Lay Cohn says, Red, I was recently there for food and beer. Okay. Now, that's interesting, Michael. I'd love to hear. Michael Graham, what did you see inside Argonne National Labs? Or did they let you see anything? I'm really curious about that, Michael. Adam has a comment here. Hi, guys. Gotta count the fucks in casino after the show. That should be entertaining. Very entertaining. Don Cheech, what the fuck? Adam didn't need a calculator. He went through frame by frame. Almost 3 days he worked on that. Scott H. It says Argonne National Laboratories is Lamont. I don't know. It's all kind of, it's different out there. Lamont, I think of the Lamont quarries and the cars that were buried down there too. A lot of them. Back in the day, announcement. Kraut, it's going to go live right after this show. Mr. Lee, I seen your comments and thank you for stopping by. If you like the show, hit that like button. And Mr. Lee, if any of you, if you haven't read my book, Nobody cares. And what I did about it, you can get it on the link below. You can see along the trailer on the bottom of the, maybe you can't if you're on TV or on a device, where it says you can get it at redwemette.com. That's an autographed edition. But you can also buy it at amazon.com. Easiest. You can go to a bookstore, they'll order it for you. I remember Cass Avenue. I certainly do. Argonne, just south of I-55 and Cass Avenue. That was the day. Crowd, you got a sense of humor, buddy. He'll run on toes and fingers if he counts the usual way. Yeah, that he would. But anyway, another thing that's very interesting. Tiger Town, love you, buddy. Make sure they're spelled right. Oh, that's good. At any rate, one of the things that caught me, I never knew where they went, but I lived on the north side at the time, and there was a phone number you could call. And if you did call them and you wanted to get rid of your vehicle, let's say you're upside down in the payments, or maybe you had insurance and you just wanted to collect on the insurance. You call that number, you didn't know who it was, but bang, your car would be gone. And then you would owe them. They'd wait for it. They'd collect it. Mr. Lee, 9500 Cass Avenue. They used to have a particle accelerator split atoms. I don't doubt that. I don't doubt it at all, Mr. Lee. There's so much I don't know of it. I mean, there's a lot. I don't think the public knows of it. I mean, you guys in here, you're different. You have an interest in it. But generally speaking, the people of the city, Chicago, and the suburbs, they really don't know what went on out there. They really don't. Luminous Grand, you got that Luminous Grand. At any rate, I know of it as a disposal place, and I know of it as a brothel. There were many brothels out there. That whole section out there, it all kind of melded together. Willow Springs was kind of the headquarters for Palos and the other McCook and the other places around. I think if they never argued with each other, never had any wars. John Donathan. Okay. Down the road was Mike Dicka's Willowbrook Bowl, where Tony Burley was accidentally killed during a Bears competition party in 1964. Going back that way. Bobby Hull flattened Dick Dicka's bar. Bobby Hull was something else. I remember Bobby Hull from him and Dennis both bought their cars in Cicero. They bought their Oldsmobiles there. They're good customers. Good hockey players, man. Very good hockey players. I always considered them the best. But then again, I was partial. It's guarded, Mr. Lee says, it's guarded by the National Guard and it's part of the environmental FEMA nuclear work. I don't doubt that because it's been nuclear all the time. Very hush hush. They never wanted anybody to know what was going on there. Okay, you're going to have to read this one, folks. I'm not going to speak it out loud. Treetop. We got some jokes here. You only have 10 fingers and toes. Okay. Dave Smith, you sold new Oldsmobile, Red. I didn't sold a brand new one, but I did have a couple Oldsmobiles when I sold. And I had a Cutlass Supreme. It actually wasn't a Cutlass Supreme. It was a Cutlass convertible, red. Very nice car. 327 and 3 on the column, I believe, if my memory serves me correct. Bill Crawley. It's part of the Department of Energy, the same as FEMA Lab in Batavia. And I don't know anything about Batavia. But thank you, Bill. You guys are part of the show. Red, I believe my grammar school took us on a field trip to Argonne to get kids from my generation interested in science. We just walked around the facility as they explained what they do there. Well, I don't think they told you all the information there. And our field trips were usually, when I was younger, to the Museum of Science and Industry, where you could see the U-boat and places like that. That was the first place that I ever saw a telephone that actually you could look at. Like I'm looking at you folks, and it was connected to Disneyland in California. And you don't know who you're going to talk to, but when you sit down there, you're going to actually talk to somebody in Disneyland. That was a Bell Lab exhibit. I thought it was nice. Right. Some of the longtime residents still call Willow Springs the River of Death. I don't doubt it. You know how many bodies were dropped into CalSag on that bridge? Come on, a lot of them. Scott H., I just looked up Argonne Lab. It looks like they do tours. Well, yeah. I mean, here we are, 2023. What was going on there went all the way back to before World War II. Adam says, that's right. The super Kaiser was near there. Okay. Treetop says, Adam, that's neat as hell. And there was a junkyard on Route 83. As a matter of fact, I'll get back to you here in a second, Two-Pack Wallace. But as a matter of fact, I remember that we used to go out to the Summit Argo dumps when I was 16 years old. It's before I went to the Marine Corps. And they had a garbage dump there. And they had a Afro-American man there who lived there in the garbage dumps. He had a little shanty there. But the guys I hung around with were older. And they were all from Cicero. And we used to go out there. I had a 22 rifle. We all had 22 rifles. And he'd turn on the lights for us. I think they'd bribe him with a pint of whiskey or something like that. And we'd sit on top of that old shanty in lounge chairs that we brought with, the fold-up kind. And we would shoot rats. They'd turn on the floodlights. They'd be everywhere. You go back the next night, they were cannibals. They ate each other. It's very different. Tupac Wallace, Red, have you ever spoken to Frank Schweiss's daughter? Never. Never. I've seen her on occasions, but I never spoke to her. Never in my life. I don't think she wants to talk to me at all. She's very much all for her father. Never did the things he was accused of. Everything else. Rhonda, you used to hear stories about mutilated deer and other animals at Argonne Farm Lab. Yeah, I don't know about that, but some time ago, I would say 10 years ago, they were trying to get rid of the deer. It was overpopulated.
Hey,
Adam.
you brought me in.
How you doing, guy?
Hey, I'm doing all right. I just hung up the phone. I was listening to you on the headset. This Argonne Laboratories is I wanted to just to jump on to read this to you because I'm sitting here reading this going, what the fuck? Like, it's really strange with it. So did you see Stranger Things, Red?
No, I did not see the movie.
All right, it was a mini series, okay, but I'm sure some of the viewers have seen it. But it's about this laboratory. Winona Ryder plays the mom, and there's this laboratory. Her son goes missing, and turns out he got sucked into this other dimension because at this place they work on these weird experiments. And listen to this. It says the show science fiction, but Maria Stan, a senior scientist at Lemont-based Argonne National Laboratories, says part of the series is grounded in reality. The first series hit Netflix on July 15th, and if you haven't had time to watch all 8 episodes, spoilers are ahead, so if you haven't watched it. In the show, Winona Ryder plays Joyce Bayers, a mom in a small town in Indiana in 1983 who embarks on a strange and terrifying quest to find her missing son, Will. As the town's police chief, Byers and Will's friends dig deeper into his disappearance, they start to realize he's been pulled into another dimension, the entrance to which was created by a nearby Department of Energy-backed National Lab in an experiment gone wrong. The whole thing shrouded in mystery. The government tries to cover things up. A white lab coat scientists are sneaky. The gun-toting security guards stop intruders from coming in. But could this be real? And he says the idea of entering another dimension isn't that far-fetched, this scientist said. Scientists at European Organization for Nuclear Research based in Switzerland, known as CERN, C-E-R-N, are working to create portals to other dimensions in the form of black holes. This is what they're doing. They're smashing particles. I said it's a super collider. I misspelled it. That they built out there. They're smashing particles against each other at a very high energy to hope to create mini black holes. What?
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. That Argonne, I've heard shit about Argonne my whole life.
Mysterious about that out there. It was all mysterious.
Yeah. That's
they don't let the public know anything.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's crazy.
And it's a large piece of property. It's huge. The acreage out there is, before you can even get to the building, it's caged in.
Yeah.
Going to the building, you have to go through the guard, then it's caged in. They frisk you. They go through medical detectors. I mean, it's very high security, even for the people that just work there.
Yeah, it's like Area 51.
And they changed the combinations on the doors. You know, the doors that go in, they have push button. They had them when I was a kid. They had push button doors where it had a code to go in.
Yeah.
They change them every day. And if you're not an employee there, you can't get to the next door.
It's nuts. Yeah, it's
very strange.
It's a lot. I've heard stuff about that place. Maybe they have the Stargate. Maybe that's what's out there.
Boy, that would be it. I lived right by it, never saw it.
Right?
That would be it, man.
Yeah. Man, how you doing today, Red?
I'm doing great.
Sound good.
It's a little windy here, but
Same here. Same here. No tours tonight because of the wind. So instead, I'm sitting here doing something I never thought I would ever do again. I just got back from the store, and I have DVDs that I am sitting here burning. I forgot how to burn a freaking DVD. I have to relearn how to do this because it's been so long. It's insane.
Well, after working on your F-bombs, I think your mind was focused one direction, and you couldn't even remember how to push the keys on the board after that.
Oh, so I edited all the fucks out of the movie Casino. I tried to look for all 422 supposed fucks. I only found 406.
That's close.
It's
But I
close.
told you it was going to be off, didn't I?
Close, and then I
I
put
told you it was going to be off.
the whole thing together. You did. You said it'd be off. You said you're not going to get it perfect. There's no way you're going to find every fuck in that movie. Well, found a lot. And then I made the video, and then we uploaded last night. And YouTube, not only did they make it ineligible, but they blocked it so it couldn't be watched in certain
Only
countries,
in America,
including the U.S. Yes. So we're gonna watch the video, Red and I, and react to it because I believe we can do that, and they won't block it. But who the hell knows? But if you guys want to watch us watch it, we're gonna do that after this.
we're going to fall on our faces, or
Scott H, I'm using get ready, Adobe Encore CS6. I can't even install it on my new computers. I have to pull out my old piece of shit laptop from 10 years ago that still has that software to burn a DVD. It's insane. It's insane, man. Yeah.
Tim Peroni has something here.
As an iron worker, we moved a lot of the blocks and magnets.
Okay.
Oh, I've been in many tunnels at Fermi Lab many times. They moved the blocks and magnets in the tunnels at the Fermi Lab. Is that the super collider that we're talking about?
Yes.
That they're talking because that's, oh yeah.
It's a very mysterious area out there. That area is mysterious.
Yes, it is very mysterious.
Leanne rolling along says, "Hi, Deronda."
Dave Smith saw a video where the weapons of mass destruction was the portal they were trying to get from Saddam.
Yes.
Oh, really? They were trying to get the Stargate out of Iraq, huh? And bring it back to...
Yes.
Fuck, man. I could go down conspiracy theory hole all day. I love it. It's great. You have a Blu-ray
I
burner.
love to listen to people debated, but I'm like this. Okay. I don't buy it. I mean, there's a lot of things I just don't buy into.
No,
Adam told me the other day when we were talking, the other night when we were talking, he told me, he said, "Don't worry. When they come for your guns, don't worry about it because it's going to be AI. They're not going to send cops.
They're going to send
They're
robots.
not going to send to your door.
No, you're going to send robots.
It's going to be drones.
It'll be robots that are going to come knock on your door. They'll be able to scan your house. That's what they're going to do because you aren't going to be able to find a single cop to knock on somebody's door and go, give me your gun. It won't happen. A human won't do it. It won't happen. I mean, they did it in England. I don't know how the fuck they pulled that off, man, but they did it in England.
Actually, what they did in England was they did something similar to Chicago. They had people turn them in, and they gave them money.
Got it.
Weapons.
Fermi Lab
they did the same thing in Australia too. Not a crusher.
So they're not smashing the particles in, they're accelerating the particles. I had to look that up.
Oh, the faster they go, that's it.
Yeah.
Wake Up says, was it CERN? Has an open porthole, according to the top scientists. Check out what's in front of CERN and the statue of Shiva, also known as Adam and Red. Look at the grounds it's on. Okay, we'll try that. Treetop, you're exactly right. Nobody is going to stop the ammunition being made in New England. They will not. New Haven, Connecticut, all that. They're not going to stop that. That's that's been there a long time. It's been moving a long time, and those are blue blood people that have been DuPonts and whatever that have been around for ages. I think they're part of the deep state myself. That's my own personal opinion.
Largest particle physics laboratory in the world, near Geneva.
I don't know anything about Geneva.
Dude, I have no clue. I know I could sit and look this up, though, for the rest of the evening.
Well, folks, it's been wonderful having you here. And thank you for the super chat sticker. And I really appreciate it, guys. Really do. And thanks for stopping by. And join Adam and me in a few minutes. Adam's going to do it, and I might as well stop over by him.
Hey, sounds good. I'll see you in a few minutes. See you in a few minutes over there, Red.
You want to take me out, or should I do it?
Sure thing. I'll take you out.
All right.
You, Red. God bless.
The combination of the videotapes and Wemette's testimony resulted in the conviction of 2 men on extortion charges. One of them was Frank Schweiz, known in syndicate circles as the German, a feared mob terrorist and a suspect in a number of gangland murders.
He was described to me by other outfit individuals as the most feared hitman. And as he said to me, my reputation precedes me, son.